Straight ahead on the Daily O, Governor Kevin Stitt's eldest son's latest brush up with law enforcement, this time at Oklahoma State. We've obtained the report as police say Stitt has been charged with vandalism and destruction. A possible change in gun laws? One Oklahoma State representative is pushing for a bill that changes the legal age to own a gun from 21 to 18. More on his reasoning. Also, one Tulsa teacher uses his childhood past to help shed a light in the classroom for his students. All this and more coming up. The Daily O starts now. Good evening and welcome to this Wednesday edition of the Daily O. I'm Aaron Gonders. We're glad you're with us this evening. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt's son is back in the headlines, this time here on campus. According to an open record request from the university, the governor's eldest son was questioned by police and charged with vandalism and damage of property. Police were called on early October to Lot 37 off of Monroe and University after someone called in a parking boot was being cut off. Upon arriving to the scene, a towing company was called to tow away a 2017 white Toyota Tundra that belonged to John Stitt. Police were able to make contact with Stitt, who then agreed to pay the damages caused by cutting the boot. We reached out to Governor Kevin Stitt for comment and have yet to hear back. In other news here on campus, the Spears Center of Business added another accolade to their resume earlier this week. According to the 2023 rankings by the Princeton Review, the Oklahoma State School of Entrepreneurship was recognized as one of the top schools in the nation, placing 31st on the top 50 graduate schools and 49th in undergrad schools. When comparing the program to other Southwest universities, OSU places in the top 7 in both graduate and undergraduate. The rankings are drawn from a 60-question survey issued to all the schools considered, with questions focused on each school's level of commitment to entrepreneurship studies, inside and outside of the classroom. Since the School of Entrepreneurship opened in 2008, it continues to make a name for themselves, making its Princeton Review debut in 2012 and continuing to be honored for its outstanding educational opportunities. An Oklahoma State representative is pushing for a bill that would lower the legal age to carry a firearm from 21 to 18. State Representative Jim Olson authored House Bill 1001, saying that since 18-year-olds can get married, buy a home, and join the military, that they should be allowed to protect themselves and their family. Olson also argues that most mass shootings across the country are occurring in gun-free zones and says that arming more people won't prevent mass shootings, but it will greatly mitigate them by deterring potential shooters or neutralizing them quickly. Oklahoma does allow those under 21 to carry loaded if they are in the military or if they have a license from another state, like Maine, that requires people to be only 18 to get a handgun license. Youth can also carry a loaded gun while hunting with their parents or target shooting. And here in Stillwater and throughout the nation, the economy is slowly making positive strides as the end comes to a near. The U.S. economy had a better than expected third quarter. According to the latest gross domestic product report, GDP increased by an annualized rate of 2.9%. That's better than the preliminary reading the government had last month, and the forecast from Refinitiv analysts say one thing giving overall U.S. economy a recent boost. The U.S. consumer early reports of Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales appear to be strong. Home prices, meanwhile, dropped from September to August, which marks the third straight month they've declined in more than 3 years. And that's part one down. We got 3 more to go on the Daily O. When we return, one state governor has banned their employees from using the social media app. Find out the reasoning in our national headlines. Also, a triumphant story of one teacher who looks to inspire others. Find out more when the Daily O returns.
We would design something, it was set on the counter, and people was either, if enough of them said, this isn't it never made to the line. Dad was excited that they're all original. They were all designed on Mom's kitchen table, and it gets in your blood after a while.
We're very happy that Pamela and Michael have taken over the business and kept the family going.
We took the business over in 2017. When we found that it was available, we wanted to keep the legacy of family alive, but it was also incredible products that deserved to be a part of Made in Oklahoma's story. We were a part of Made in Oklahoma years ago, and so it kind of grew as Made in Oklahoma grew.
Oklahoma is ingrained into everything that we did. We've been here most of our life. That's what we entailed our whole business on, was the Oklahoma homegrown feeling.
You may have been to casinos at some point in your life, but do you really know the truth behind the game you're playing?
And the casinos were very polemic or very controversial when they came out. But the truth was, that's all the federal government gave us.
Casino is owned by the Chickasaw Nation and has roughly 600,000 square feet of dedicated gambling space, making it the world's largest casino. It contributed massively to the Chickasaw Nation, posting a net revenue of $1.4 billion for the fiscal year of 2017.
Welcome back into the Wednesday edition of the Daily O. Let's take a quick look into your own national headlines. Zach Berger joins us now in studio to give us the latest. Zach?
Thanks, Aaron. The Republican National Committee is taking a closer look in the mirror. Officials with the RNC have put together a group. It's called a Republican Party Advisory Council, which it says will come together and plot strategies it hopes will be successful in the future. Among those participating, former Trump White House Administrator Kellyanne Conway and evangelical leader Tony Perkins. The GOP says it wants to address the aftermath of the 2022 midterm elections. And here's from new voices in the party. They also want to make stronger inroads with minorities and female voters in the suburbs. Some encouraging news about an experimental drug used to slow the progression of Alzheimer's disease. The drug is called lecanemab. The New England Journal of Medicine published results from a phase 3 trial of the drug on Tuesday. The research shows lecanemab reduced symptoms of the disease by 27%. Patients with early signs of Alzheimer's showed less cognitive and functional decline after taking the drug compared with a placebo group. The drug's makers will say they will apply for an FDA approval by March. The agency says it will prioritize the review of the drug. Researchers say will lecanemab show promise. The drugs also have some side effects such as headaches, brain swelling, and brain bleeding. South Dakota state employees who want to watch videos on TikTok better do it on their own time. Governor Kristi Noem signed an executive order Tuesday banning state employees from using government devices to access the social media platform. It also applies to contract workers. Noem blamed TikTok's Chinese ownership for the decision. She said her state will, quote, have no part in the intelligence gathering operations of nations who hate the U.S. Back in September, TikTok refused to promise senators the company would not send data on U.S. users to China. Though TikTok does not operate there, it's owned by Chinese company ByteDance. Could a Monday through Thursday work schedule become a thing? A new 6-month study says a 4-day weekly job schedule appears to provide a win-win situation. Researchers with the nonprofit 4-Day Week Global says average revenue rose nearly 40% compared to the same period the year before, with a 5-day week schedule in place. The workers themselves also liked the schedule change, saying they felt less stress and burnout. The findings are based on a 903 employee from 33 companies who said they made the schedule change with no change in pay. Few of the companies involved in the study said they planned on keeping the 4-day schedule, at least for now. A separate 6-month study in the United Kingdom by 4-Day Week Global just wrapped up. The results are expected early next year, and that's all we have from the news desk. Back to you, Aaron.
Thanks for that, Zach. Well, do you remember the old saying of it doesn't matter how it started? What matters is how it ended. For one Tulsa teacher, despite the obstacles faced at an early age, he continues to give back to the next generation. Tate Holcomb has a story.
When faced with darkness in the world, most people look for the light. Others become the light. Alex Burkhalter is one of those people.
So it all started when I was 12 years old in the 6th grade. I lived in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I was going to Edison, and I was in a very abusive situation at home. My mother was very abusive. She was troubled, you know, so there was a lot of verbal abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse going on at the time. We contacted the ranch, we went out to visit it, and the rest is history.
Alex came here at a difficult point in his life. Struggles with family, struggles with parents, and just trying to find footing. He was always positive on the outside, even while he was struggling with stuff on the inside and trying to figure out kind of where his life was taking him. And
Alex made the most of his time at the ranch.
The ranch is where I got into photography. The ranch is where I got into videography. The ranch is really where I found myself.
I let him borrow my daughter's camera. And it wasn't anything fancy. It was a little point-and-shoot Canon camera. And he would borrow it sometimes for an extended amount of time. And then he turned out he was good at it.
And I would take one frame and I started to edit it. And I fell in love with photography. So that was kind of, you know, and for me, I never seen myself that way. You know, so looking into the camera, I'm like, that's me. That's really me.
You know, he gets a camera. Next thing he's doing photography, then he goes and gets help. He finds out who's the best. Then he calls him up or email, you know, and he gets help from them.
Now, Alex is a teacher, and he's the one helping others.
he's kind of gone full circle with the I want to know what you know, and now he feels some kind of onus to give back to kids, you know, who are going through what he's been through. So.
And once again, school for me was a safe place. So when I was in the abusive situation, I knew I could come to school and get a good meal, you know, because we didn't always have food in the house. Sometimes we would go hungry. And so I knew I could come to school and get a good meal. I knew that I would be provided for and taken care of. So I knew that school really helped me in a way. So I wanted to give that back. Because the world needs light, and there's a lot of darkness. And even the people who do have the light to give, a lot of times they don't want to give it for whatever reason. Maybe they're scared of being hurt or losing the light, you know. But whatever the reason is, there's light that needs to be shined in this world. The biggest thing I want people to know is that no matter how it looks, and this translates in my photography, there's always light, and you can find it. Yes, we all at some point dim our light, whether voluntarily or involuntarily. But the point is, it's still in there, and you can always find it if you search hard enough. Keep going, stay focused, don't get dragged down by the world, just focused on who God made you to be.
And no matter how dark it gets, Alex reminds us all to be the light.
Thanks for that, Tate. It's time to take another break, but when we come back, Cowboy basketball hits the road. We'll tell you more about their upcoming matchup and touch up on your national headlines from throughout the sporting world. Don't go anywhere, the Daily O. We'll be right back.
Ace in the Bowl salsa started many, many years ago. I was trying to find a recipe to take to a family gathering, and so I started messing around with different recipes, and I took a little bit from here and a little bit from there, and I came up with a salsa that is truly unique. Ace in the Bowl salsa is an olive oil-based salsa with tomatoes, green chilies, green onions, and black olives. There's no sugar added, it's gluten-free, low-calorie, low-carb, low-fat, low sodium. So it's a very, very, very good alternative to any snack you may want. As of right now, I'm just looking to be in Oklahoma and having a successful business within the state. If my grandkids could ever take it over when they're old enough, that would be my dream.
Over the years, we kind of realized that you can get ribs anywhere, you can get a steak anywhere, but you can't always get a Mountain View hot link like ours. So we really decided to focus on that niche and realized we had something really special. So that's when we started focusing more on the hot links, but it's still the same family recipe they were making all those years ago. For us, many of our people that work here have been with us for years and decades. So whereas machines kind of break down over time, the people just get better. And it shows in the products we produce. When you buy a Mountain View product, not only is it gonna taste dynamite, but you're also feeding Oklahomans. You're helping employ Oklahomans, and you're helping to fund the state's economy. So what's better than that?
Welcome back to the Daily O. Time to bring you the world of sports. Cowboy basketball is hitting the road, traveling out east to face off against the number 8 ranked UConn Huskies. For head coach Mike Boynton and his squad, this is a unique opportunity to put his team to the test before conference play begins at the end of the year. Cowboy defense has yet to allow 30 points in the past 4 halves to opponents, while also not allowing an opponent to reach 61 points in 5 of their past 9 games. Dating back to last season, the Huskies come into this one on an offensive tear, averaging over 84 points per game. Tip-off between both sides is set for tomorrow at 5:30 and can be viewed on Fox Sports 1. Moving back here to Stillwater, new reports have surfaced that Cowboy football defensive coordinator Derek Mason's contract is set to expire in January. According to the Oklahoman, in what many first assumed to be a 2-year guaranteed deal since his arrival to Stillwater, was not what was actually signed. In his first season coaching the Cowboys defense, it wasn't the most successful year by any means, going from the top units in the nation generating pressure on opposing teams last season to now placing second to last in the Big 12 in points allowed and injuries amassing after each game. Fans continue to speculate whether or not changes will be made this offseason to help right the ship. While there's been no official word about whether or not Mason will be re-signed, we'll continue to keep you updated. Now it's time to take a dive into our top stories from throughout the sporting world. Our own Zach Berger is in studio to give us the latest. Zach?
Thanks, Aaron. Washington Nationals forward Alex Ovechkin now leads the NHL in career road goals. Ovechkin passed hockey legend Wayne Gretzky Tuesday night by scoring 2 goals early in a 5-1 win against the Vancouver Canucks. Those 2 goals got Ovechkin to 403 career road goals, just one more than Gretzky's career mark. Gretzky still holds the record for overall goals. However, with 894 to hit that mark, Ovechkin, who is 37 years old, would need to score over 100 more career goals. His next chance to get closer to record is Thursday night on the road against the Seattle Kraken. The University of West Virginia's search for an athletic director is finally at the end, with the hire of Wren Baker from the University of North Texas. Baker comes to Morgantown with years of experience going back to 2013 when he was at Memphis. During his time at North Texas, 17 combined conference or division champions were won between 7 programs. Baker is replacing former Mountaineer athletic director Shane Lyons, who led the Mountaineers through the heights of the COVID-19 pandemic as chair of the Division I Football Oversight Committee. Lyons was athletic director during the 2015 and the administration let him go on account of a combination of budgeting issues and the state of the Mountaineers football program. Brazilian soccer legend Pelé is receiving treatment in Sao Paulo Hospital. Pelé was hospitalized early this morning amid concerns from the surrounding sports world. According to Pelé's daughter, he is doing well and receiving treatment from a colon tumor. She says there's no, quote, no emergency. Pelé started chemotherapy from the tumor back in 2021. The 82-year-old said he was in good health back on his birthday and in October, and previous rumors of his poor health. That's all we have from the news desk. Back to you, Aaron.
Thanks for that, Zach. It's time for one last break on the Daily O, but when we return, it's time to celebrate a few athletes' birthdays and discover what happened on this day in sports history.
We use the very best of the best ingredients. Demerara sugar is the best there is. Very high quality fruits, berries. The milk we use is the best milk there is. That's why it makes our product stand by itself. I like to make yogurt because I like to eat yogurt. We've been doing this for ourselves for many years because it's a tradition in our family. And we want to have a product which would be very similar to French yogurt, but with our touch of uniqueness, linking our name, our products, with the reputation of the Made in Oklahoma Coalition was probably the best thing we have done as far as promoting our product.
Welcome back to the last part of the Daily O for this Wednesday. Get ready to go back in time now as we look at what happened on this day in sports history. We will stay in this century for this one as we start in 2013 for the 78th Iron Bowl. Whoever watched this one, you remember exactly where you were. The most memorable play from this one is the kick six. To set the play up, Alabama head coach Nick Saban called a timeout to put 1 second left on the clock for a last-second 57-yard field goal. Auburn put punt returner Chris Davis back in the end zone to return the kick in case it was short, and the rest was history. There went Davis down the sideline, and Auburn won the football game and a spot in the SEC championship game. Our next stop is 2015 when Kobe Bryant announced his intent to retire. Bryant was drafted to the Charlotte Hornets in the 1996 draft with the 13th overall pick out of Lower Merion High School. From there, Bryant went on to become one of the greatest basketball players to ever grace an NBA court. Bryant won 5 championships, 2 finals MVPs, and 2 Olympic gold medals. Bryant was also the first guard to ever play 20 seasons. 2 years after his retirement, he had both his number 8 and the number 24 retired by the Los Angeles Lakers. And now it's that time to put on those party hats because today, we got some birthdays to celebrate. Our first birthday is two-sport super athlete Bo Jackson, who turned 60 today. Jackson's two-sport dominance covered football and baseball. In the college ranks, Jackson won a Heisman Trophy as a running back in 1985 with the Auburn Tigers, while also playing 3 seasons with the baseball team. He only played in the NFL with the LA Raiders for 4 seasons, but he made a Pro Bowl and rushed for over 2,000 yards. His career was cut short by a hip injury, but that didn't stop him from dominating the MLB. He played for 8 years on the Kansas City Royals, the Chicago White Sox, and the California Angels. He made an All-Star game in 1989, but he was potentially most well known for his athletic feats, like throwing the ball from the outfield to home plate without a bounce. And our next one is 3-time Super Bowl champ Larry Brown. Brown turns 53 today. He won 3 Super Bowls with the Dallas Cowboys. He was also the first corner to ever be named Super Bowl MVP. Brown ended up playing for Oakland and Minnesota before finishing his career back in Dallas in 1998. Next is our journey into the world of strange sports. We didn't have one last week, but we return with this week with a winter special. Our sport for you today is Red Bull Crashed Ice. The world of Red Bull Crashed Ice is a weird one. The sport crosses ski cross and snowboard cross, but you just put the racers on hockey skates and in hockey pads. When the race starts, racers go downhill and skate over bumps and jumps while experiencing thrills, chills, and spills. The winner is whoever crosses the finish line first. Since it's a Red Bull sport, Crashed Ice tours the globe, and the 2022 World Championships are held in Quebec City. And before that, they were held in Japan, Germany, and Sweden, just to name a few. And before we let you go, athletes every day continue to defy the odds and persevere throughout any challenges that they may face. To one college pitcher, a near-death illness wouldn't stop him from reaching his dreams. Nathan Shell has the story.
Like many other youngsters, Carson Lightfoot grew up in a family that pushed him to get involved in sports.
I'd say as I grew up, the game kind of grew up with me, starting at T-ball.
It didn't take long for his parents to realize that their son was not your average little leaguer. Carson had a gift.
The first time I really remember him turning a corner was when he was 11. And then again, maybe when he became a freshman in high school, is really when he took off.
He led multiple teams to league championships and achieved video game numbers while doing so. Everything was going great for Carson until one day, everything changed.
So I was by myself at home and I was getting ready, and that's when all the pieces started coming together that I realized that, oh no, I think he has type 1 diabetes. And And I just realized then that I needed to take him to the doctor that day. God told me I had to take him to the doctor that day.
The opportunity for Carson to continue playing the game he loved was now in jeopardy. But against all odds, Carson continued to excel, with eyes fixed on making it to the next level.
Started to get looks on Twitter and stuff, and that's when I got the offer, and it was a really exciting time. Especially a top D2 that competes at that high of a level is really exciting.
His incredible skill set landed him an offer from the Angelo State Rams, and despite facing obstacles early on, Carson seemed to be on the right track to achieve his dream, until he faced yet another sudden obstacle.
Going into summer, I hadn't thrown for about a month, and then it was about May. So we go to get it. I'm at home now, and I go to get an MRI, and it comes back about a week later or so, and they say you got a 90% tear in your UCL.
He was released from the Angelo State Rams and got surgery that summer. Carson's dream still wasn't shattered, however, and he signed on with the Weatherford College Coyotes for the extent of his recovery.
He might have a few bumps along the way. I mean, just like the diabetes and the arm injury, but that's just a bump in the road for him. So, I mean, he's going to work towards what he wants.
I just hope to see him, I think all of us would love to see him get through this, have a great career, and, have a lot of success here or at the next place or wherever. But either way, I think the journey has helped him become a better person, and that's what it's all about.
Currently, there is a light at the end of the tunnel for Carson, as he is back to playing catch and progressing toward once again playing the game he loves. The story for this overcomer continues on, and wherever his next chapter lies, success is sure to follow.
That's going to do it for today's Daily O. Make sure to tune in tomorrow. Emma Lightfoot will have you covered for all the OSU and national headlines you need. For the Daily O, I'm Aaron Gonders. Thanks for watching, everybody. Good night.
Tucked away in the city of Ripley, Oklahoma, the award-winning Washington Irving Trail Museum showcases the heritage and history of Payne County. This museum holds antiques, treasures, and artifacts that one cannot find at any other museum. With hundreds of historical antiques that display OSU history, along with Native American history, the museum has it all. The museum is well known for their book containing pictures and news articles about Frank Eaton, the original Pistol Pete. Dale Kluber opened Washington Irving Trail Museum in 1994 with his collection of historical mementos. This museum is filled from wall to wall with Oklahoman history. The Washington Irving Trail Museum is 15 minutes outside of Stillwater. Experience history at one of Oklahoma's hidden gems.
My name is James Ramidi. Fired Up Stilly is the name of the business, and I'm one of the owners. We all three met, the three owners, working as employees at a similar place like this. What I hope for is for everybody to feel welcome, like family. Not only do I want students to feel welcome to come here and study and use our free Wi-Fi, but also I want adults and families to be able to come in. We've built a connection with a lot of people, and Stillwater's a big community, so we just want to invite everybody to be able to eventually make their way through our doors. Well, definitely the teas, I would say. Most people fall in love with them. They just got a great amount of energy, gets you going through your day, and it just kickstarts you to get everything you need to done. For myself, it would just have to be, being the owner, owning something that, is able to impact other people's lives, and, the way we can affect our community is something that I really have always wanted to do. We love our clients and our customers that come through every day, and we enjoy getting to know them.
hopes are when folks drink our water is that they'll drink it for a few days and find out the difference. They'll start feeling better because there's been no chemical in our water. There's a list of good things that we have. We don't have any bad things in it. I see the future of Divine Water as being worldwide, which will bring outside dollars into the state. It means a lot to me because I started it, I guess, and our family started it.